Hey y'all, hey, welcome to another session of KickBack Bible Study. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. Like when I tell y'all we kicking back. I'm in my car in my safe space so I don't wake the kids up with the sound of my voice. But we're going to get started. We stopped at chapter 20. We read through chapter 20 the last time. We ended at the Abimelech situation, with Abimelech realizing that Sarah is Abraham's wife and not his sister. And yeah, that's where we're at. So we're going to pick back up on chapter 21. And this is Genesis. So let's go. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare unto him, Isaac. So she did have a baby. The baby name was Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as God had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, God hath made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. And she said, Who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abram, mocking. Okay, so they had that whole issue with Hagar and Sarah, and now the baby done grew up with an attitude problem. So he was mocking. So wherefore she said unto Abram, so now this is Sarah saying to Abram. So wherefore she said unto Abram, Cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. And the thing was very grievous into Abraham's sight because of his son. So Sarah was like, yo, we got our own baby now. We don't need neither one of them no more. But Abraham like, but that's still my baby. So we got to see. And God said unto Abraham, Let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman, and all that Sarah hath said unto thee. Hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and took bread and a bottle of water, and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered the wilderness of Beersheba. Dang, so God was like, don't be mad. It's a plan behind this. I made her feel that way for a reason. So go on and send them on their way. So he done gave her a bottle of water and sent on her way. And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. And she went and sat down over against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot. For she said, Let me not see the death of the child. And she sat over again with him, and lifted up her voice and wept. So dang, they out here in the wilderness, they stuck, they done ran out of water, and she just put her baby up under a bush because she didn't want to see it die. She was like, I'm gonna just sit over here. So, and God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven, and said unto her, What aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad. Where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thine hand, for I will make him a great nation. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the bottle with water, and gave the lad drink. Okay, so God was like, no, I ain't gonna let y'all die. Go get your baby and some of this water. So, and God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out the land of Egypt. And it came to pass that at that time that Abimelech and Pekol, the chief captain of his host, spake unto Abraham, saying, God is with thee in all that thou doest. Now therefore swear unto me here by God, that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me, and to the land wherein thou hast sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. Okay, so Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. So they was getting along, and so because before, when this whole thing went down, Abimelech was like, hey, I got land where you need us to dwellest. Like, come set up. So now, obviously, it was a dispute over some well. So Abimelech's, when it says that Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away, what that just means is they had like a little spat. Like they had a little thing because somebody came and took a well. And Abimelech said, I wot not who hath done this thing, neither didst thou tell me, neither yet heard I of it, but today. So he was like, man, I didn't even know they was around here jacking wells. So, and Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them unto Abimelech, and both of them made a covenant. And Abraham sent 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, what mean these 7 ewe lambs which thou hast set by themselves? And he said, for these 7 ewe lambs shalt thou take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well. Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because there they swear, both of them. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech rose up, and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, and they returned into the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba, and called there the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' lands many days. In the Philistines' land many days. So that right there, that's a cool, that's the end of chapter 21. We're getting on to chapter 22. But what I like about that is that it shows the nature of a godly person. They got into a whole spat about this well. Like, okay, somebody came and jacked my well. Abraham was like, this is my well. And Abimelech people was like, well, we going to take it and we going to call it ours. But in that resolution, even though Abraham, on the face of it, is like the one who was done wrong, it was his well and they came and took it. But in resolving that, Abraham still was the one that gave. So I love little examples like that pop up through the Bible, showing where even when someone has wronged you, the resolution is not always to get something back from them. He was like, hey, we're going to call this thing cool. And not only are we going to establish the fact that this is my well, I'm going to give you some ewe lambs. So it really just shows the difference in how we kind of operate today. Always feeling like we need to get even. It ain't always about getting even. It's about resolving that conflict. And if you're walking and in good graces and favor with God, it really shows you how we don't need to get even. We can correct the situation and give you more, because that's what our Creator has given us. So I really, really love stuff like that. So let's see, chapter 22. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, behold, here I am. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went into the place of which God has told him. On the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand, and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spoke unto Abraham his father, and said, my father. And he said, here I am, my son. And he said, behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for burnt offering? And Abraham said, my son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. So Isaac like, hey, who getting killed here? Because we ain't got nothing to slaughter. So let's see. But Abraham going. So, and they came into the place which God had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. So he done tied him up. He finna burn him. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took out the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, here I am. And he said, lay not thine hand upon thy lad, neither doest anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing that thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. That, I'm going to highlight that. Let me pull. And it's a couple of different things about that verse. This is verse number 12 that I want to bring reason for highlighting. It says that, for now I know that thou fearest God, seeing that thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And, okay, I got cut off. Let's pick back up. Okay. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took out the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, here I am. And he said, lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither doest thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing that thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. And Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah Jireh, as it is said to this day, the mount of the Lord, it shall be seen. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time. Let me highlight this. And what I'm highlighting right now is what he said, and Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah Jireh, because you hear that different names that'll come up. And I just want to highlight that as a point of reference. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time and said, by myself have I sworn, saith the Lord, for because thou hast done this thing and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed, and the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies, and in thy seed shall all thy nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. And it came to pass after these things that Abraham was told, saying, behold, Milcah, she hath also borne children unto thy brother Nahor, Huz his firstborn, and Buz his brother, and Cumel the father of Aram, and Chazdiz, and Hazo, and Fildash, and Japla, and Bethuel. And Bethuel begot Rebekah. These 8 Milcah did bear to Nor, Abraham's brother. And his concubine, whose name was Remiel, she bare also Tabah, and Gram, and Thashal, and Makah. Okay, chapter 23. And Sarah was an husband. And 27 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died and Sarah was 127 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjashgabar. The same is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and weep for her. And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spake unto the sons of Hath, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me the possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my Lord, thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sculptures bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sculpture, but that thou mayest bury thy dead. Sepulchres, Sepulchres. If you don't know what that means, look it up. I mean, it's a grave, but you know, you can deduct that from the reading, but stuff like that you want to make sure you're aware of, because it comes up. You'll see that word a lot, so you want to make sure you know what it means. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth, and he communed with them, saying, If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat me to Ephron, the son of Zophar, that he may give me the cave of Melfish, which he hath, which is in the end of his field, for as much money as it is worth, he shall give it to me for a possession of a bearing place among you. And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth, even all that went in at the gates of his city, saying, Nay, my Lord, hear me. The field I give thee, and the cave that is therein I give it thee. In the presence of the sons of thy people I give it thee. Bury thy dead. And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land, and he spake unto Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field. Take it of me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying unto him, My Lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and thee? Bury therefore thy dead. And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money, with the merchant. And the field of Ephron, which was in Malpak, which was before Morah, the field, and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were in all the borders round about, were made sure unto Abraham for possessions of the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went into the gate of the city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre. And the same is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for a possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth. Okay, so another thing I want to highlight in this particular chapter, and I pay attention to when it tells little short stories like that, events that seem, seemingly uneventful. It's like, why do we have to have a whole chapter about a conversation about getting a grave? But what sticks out to me in this particular chapter is when the Abraham was going back and forth and was like, talking to the HNIC, and was like, hey, how much you want for that land? And he was like, no, just get it, bro. Like, we have so much tied in together. Like, what is $400? Just get the land. And Abraham was like, no, I'm gonna pay you. I'm gonna pay you. And so I really think that that's an example to follow as far as like how a godly man behaves. Even if somebody does offer you something for free, God is giving you substance and giving you means and giving you the provisions to acquire it. And so why not? And I think that that's a great way to kind of behave in life, because you never want it to be a situation where people think you out trying to take advantage of them and this, that, and the third. So even in that relationship, you can see they had so much vested in each other. And even though it might have been a small amount in between them, I imagine both of them is as well off. He still was like, no, you don't give me nothing for free. I'm not going to take nothing from you without paying what's due. And God has provided means to do it. So why not? 24. This is Genesis chapter 24. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house that ruled over all that he had, Put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell, but thou shalt go into my country, into my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac. And the servant said unto him, Peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring thy son again unto the land from whence thou camest? And Abraham said unto him, Beware that thou bring not my son thither again. And the Lord God of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that swore unto me, saying, Unto thy seed will I give this land, he shall send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow thee, then thou shalt be clear from this my oath, only bring not my son thither again. And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and sware him concerning this matter. And the servant, so basically what just happened there, Abraham was like, hey, my son gonna need a wife, but I don't want a wife from nowhere around this parts. Go get her from back home. But God sent me out of that land, so we ain't moving back there. We just want to get a wife from back there. So if she don't want to come, then you know what, bruh, I ain't even tripping off of this. Like, I ain't saying you broke your promise, but try to get her and bring her back here, but we ain't going back there. So that's what just happened between him and the servant. And he made him a promise. When he said he put his hand on his thigh, I guess that's the way they did like a pinky promise or whatever. It was like a thigh swear. So that's what just went on between Abraham and his servant. And the servant took 10 camels of the camels of his master and departed, for all the goods of his master were in his hand. And he arose and went to Mesopotamia, unto the city of Nar. And he made his camels to kneel down without the city by a well of water at the time of the evening, and even the time that women go out to draw the water. So he at the grocery store. And he said, O Lord God of Master Abraham, I pray thee, send me good speed this day, and show kindness unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city came out to draw water. And let it come to pass that the damsel to whom I shall say, let down thy pitcher, I pray thee, that I may drink, and she shall say, drink, and I will give thy camels also to drink. Let the same be she that thou hast appointed for thy servant Isaac, and thereby shall I know that thou hast showed kindness unto my master. And it came to pass, before he had done speaking, that, behold, Rebekah came out, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulder. And the damsel was very fair to look upon, a virgin, neither had any man known her. And she had went down to the well, and filled her pitcher, and came up. And the servant ran to meet her, and said, let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher. And she said, drink, my lord. And she hastened and let down her pitcher upon her hand, and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water for thy camels also, until they have done drinking. And she hastened and emptied her pitcher unto the trough, and ran again unto the well to draw water, and drew for his camels. So he was like, God, I don't know how I'm going to know which one it is, but whoever it is, let her be real, real nice, and offer my camels some water too. So that's what just happened. So she offered the camels water, and as he had asked, as the servant had asked. And the man, wondering at her, held his peace, to wit whether the Lord had made his journey prosperous or not. So he was like, is this it, Lord? Like, this is what I asked you to do. Was it really that easy? And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the men took a golden carrying of half a shekel weight, and 2 bracelets for her hands of 10 shekels weight of gold, and said, whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee, is there room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, which she bare unto Nahor. She said moreover unto him, we have both straw and provender enough, and room to lodge in. And the man bowed his head down and worshiped the Lord. And he said, blessed be the Lord God of my master Abraham, who have not left destitute thy master of his mercy and his truth. I being in the way, the Lord led me to the house of my master's brethren. And the damsel ran and told them of her mother's house of these things. And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran out unto the man unto the well. And it came to pass, when he saw the earrings and bracelet upon his sister's hand, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, thus spake the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the well. And he said, come in, thou blessed of the Lord, therefore standest thou without, for I have prepared this house, this room for the camels. And the man came into the house, and he ungirded his camels, and gave straw and provender for the camels, and the water to wash his feet, and the men's feet that were with him. And there was set meat before him to eat, but he said, I will not eat until I have told mine errand. And he said, speak on. And he said, I am Abraham's servant, and the Lord hath blessed my master greatly, and he has become great, and he has given him flocks and herds and silver and gold and manservants and maidservants and camels and asses. And Sarah thy master's wife bare a son to my master when she was old, and unto him hath he given all that he hath. And my master made me swear, saying that thou shalt not take a wife to my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell, but thou shalt go into my father's house and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son. And I said unto thy master, peradventure the woman will not follow me, And he said unto me, the Lord before whom I walk will send his angel with thee, and prosper thy way, and thou shalt take a wife for my son of my kindred, of my father's house. And then shalt thou be clear from this my oath, when thou comest to my kindred, and if they give not thee one, thou shalt be clear from my oath. And I came this day unto the well, and said, O Lord, give my master Abraham, if now thou do prosper my way which I go. Behold, I stand by the well of water, and it shall come to pass that when the virgin cometh forth to draw water, and I say to her, give me, I pray thee, a little water of thy pitcher to drink, and she say to me, both drink thou, and I will also draw for thy camels. Let the same woman let the same be the woman whom the Lord hath appointed for my master's son. And before I had done speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder, and she went down into the well and drew water. And I said unto her, let me drink, I pray thee. And she made haste and let down her pitcher from the shoulder, and said, drink, I will give thy camels drink also. So I drank, and she made the camels drink also. And I asked her and said, whose daughter art thou? And she said, the daughter of Bethuel Nor's son, whom Milcah bare unto him. And I put the earring upon her face and the bracelet upon her hands, and I bowed down my head and worshipped the Lord, and blessed the Lord God of my master Abraham, which has led me to the right way to take thy master's brother's daughter unto his son. And now if ye will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, and I will turn the right hand or to the left. Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, the thing proceedeth from the Lord. We cannot speak unto thee bad or good. Behold, Rebekah is before thee. Take her and go, and let her be thy master's son wife, and the Lord hath spoken. And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshipped the Lord, bowing himself to the earth. And the servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to her brother and her mother precious things, and they did eat and drink, he and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. They rose up in the morning, and he said, send me away unto my master. And her brother and her mother said, let the damsel abide with us a few days, at the least 10. After that she shall go. And he said unto them, hinder me not, seeing the Lord hath prospered my way. Send me away, that I may go to my master. And they said, we will call the damsel and inquire at her mouth. And they called Rebekah and said unto her, wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. And they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant, and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said unto her, thou art our sister, be thou the mother of thousands of millions, and thy seed possess the gate of those which hate them. And Rebekah arose, and her damsels, and they rode upon the camels, and followed the man, the servants, and took Rebekah, and went his way. And Isaac came from the way of the well Leroy, for he dwelt in the south country. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide, and he lifted up his eyes and saw, behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and she saw Isaac. And when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel. Excuse me. Let me turn this AC down. Okay. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel. For she had said unto the servant, what man is that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant says, It is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. So she seen him, and she was like, oh, he coming. He can't see me. And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. Okay, so yeah, because Sarah had done died. So now he got him, somebody to cook and stuff, and iron his drawers and clean his socks. Now, chapter 25. Then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. Well, dog, he's okay. I feel you, Abraham. He old, still wifing him. Now she bare him Zimran and Jokash and Medan and Medea and Ishbak and Shawal. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 more. I feel you. I feel you, Abraham. And Jokshan begat Sheba and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Ashurium and Lestisium and Leumium. And the sons of Medan, Ephraim and Epher, and Hanak and Abida and Adlad. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived, eastward unto the east country. Okay, so all of these new babies he had with his concubines, so his little girlfriends, instead of giving them an inheritance, he just sent them away with money and whatever, gifts and precious things while they were still alive. Which is, different. Like, y'all got y'all's while he was living. Y'all didn't have to wait till he died. So, and these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived 160 years. Then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zoar the Hittite, which is before Mary, the field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth. There was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt in the land, and Isaac dwelt by the well Larari. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names, according to their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebojath, and Kedor, and Abel, and Mibsah, and Duam, and Massa, Hardar, and Tema, Jetur, Napshish, and Kedemah. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by their towns and their castles, 12 princes according to their names. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years, and he gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest towards Assyria. And he died in the presence of all his brethren. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel the Syrian of Padram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. So she conceived, and it says the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. So she was barren, and he prayed and was like, man, please fix my wife's uterus. And she ended up getting twins. So she conceived with twins. And she went to inquire of the Lord, because for some reason it says that the children struggled together within her. So she got like a big, like it's a lot going on inside there with them twins. Okay, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days, I highlight that as prophecy. It's a word from God. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold to Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, as Plain, plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau, because he did eat of his venison, But Rebekah loved Jacob, and Jacob sawed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this bringeth do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto me, he sold him his birthright unto Jacob. So Jacob was like, you hungry? You about to pass out? You want something to eat? Sell me your birthright. And he was like, I'm about to die, bro. You ain't gonna give me nothing to eat? And he was like, no, sell me your birthright. So he did. So then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, some beans. So some beans. He sold his birthright for some beans and rice. And he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Chapter 26. And there was a famine in the land besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Greer. And the Lord appeared unto him and said, go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell of thee. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform an oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and I will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws, and Isaac dwelt in Greer. And the men of this place asked him of his wife, and he said, she is my sister. For he feared to say, she is my wife, lest he say, the men of this place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. So just like his mama, Sarah was fine. He was like, she got to be fine too. So Rebekah was fine. So, and it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out a window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah his wife. And Abimelech called Isaac and said, behold, of surety she is thy wife, and how sayest thou, she is my sister? So they was like, girl, you're so cute. He was like, I love you. And the king was like, this is not his sister. So let's see. And Abimelech called to Isaac and said, behold, of a surety she is thy wife, and how saidest thou, she is my sister? And Isaac said unto him, because I said, lest I die for her. And Abimelech said, what is this that thou hast done this unto me? One of the people might lightly have leaned with my wife, and thou shouldest have brought guiltiness upon us. And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, he that touches this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Then Isaac sowed in that land, and received in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. And the man waxed great, and went forward, and grew until he became very great, for he had possession of flocks, and possession of herds, and a great store of servants. And the Philistines envied him. For all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the days of Abraham his father, the Philistines had stopped them, and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. And Isaac departed thence, and pitched his tent in the valley of Greer, and dwelt there. So they was a real big deal. And the Philistines, the people who had originally lived there, was like, you know what? We're going to fill all of these wells that his daddy built with water, because we some haters. And dude was like, Abimelech was like, look, everybody hating on you, and you got way more than we got going on over here. So why don't you just go establish your own little spot? So that's what he did. So, and Isaac digged again the wells of water, which they had digged in the days of Abraham's father, for the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham. And he called their names after the names by which his father had called them. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley, and found there a well of springing water. And the herdmen of Greer did strive with Isaac's herdmen, saying, the water is ours. And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him. And they digged another well, and strove for that also. And he called the name of it Sitnah. And he removed from thence, and digged another well, and for that they strove not. And he called the name of it Renbuth. And he said, for now the Lord hath made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. So he went on digging wells, and they kept jacking them like, this is ours, because it's close enough to ours for us to claim it. And instead of trying to fight with them for it, Isaac just moved on, made another well, and finally at the Renboth, he said, for now the Lord hath made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. And he went up from thence to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared unto him the same night, and said, I am the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee, and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he built an altar there, and called upon the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent, and there Isaac's servants dug a well. Then Abimelech went to him from Greer, and Ashushath, one of his friends, and Pithcal, the chief captain of his army. And Isaac said unto them, wherefore come ye to me, seeing ye hate me, and have sent me away from you? So, like, what you want, bro? You said go, I'm gone. And they said, we saw certainly that the Lord was with thee, and we said, let there be now an oath between us, even between us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee, that thou wilt do us no hurt, as we have not touched thee, and we have done unto thee nothing but good, and have sent thee away in peace. Thou art now the blessed of the Lord. And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink, and they rose up betimes in the morning, and sware to one another. And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. And it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him concerning the well which he had dug, and said unto him, we have found water. And he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city was Beersheba unto this day. And Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Bathsheba, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, which were a grief of mine unto Isaac and Rebekah. Okay, so Esau took a wife, Judith, and so he had two wives, and it says, which were a grief of mine unto Isaac and Rebekah. So they couldn't stand them. They couldn't stand their daughters-in-laws. Okay. And it came to pass that when Isaac was old, and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau, his eldest son, and said unto him, my son. And he said unto him, behold, here I am. And he said, behold, I am old, and I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out into the field, and make me some venison, and make me some savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spoke to Esau his son, and Esau went into the field to hunt for venison and bring it. And Rebekah spoke unto Jacob her son, saying, behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat, and bless thee before the Lord before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice accordingly that which I command thee. Go now to the flock, and fetch from me thence two good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and he may bless thee before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice, and go fetchest me them. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house. Hold on, excuse me. Sorry, it's the air. Oh, dang, I let something in. Okay. And let's see. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat, which his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly remnant of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob, her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and bread which he had prepared unto the hand of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father and said, My father. And he said, Here I am. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, How is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because the Lord thy God brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him. And he said, The voice of Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, and his brother's Esau's hands. So he blessed him. And he said, Art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may be blessed. That he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him. And he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which the Lord hath blessed. Therefore God gave thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. The Lord be over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blessed thee. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he also made very savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it to me? And I have eaten of all before thou comest, and have blessed him, yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety. See, we remember that from the serpent, that word subtlety, and have taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he have supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, Thou hast not reserved a blessing for me. And Isaac answered unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given him for servants, and with corn and with wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of the heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass that when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewithin his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand, then I will slay my brother Jacob. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise. Flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran, and tarry with him a few days, until thy brother's fury turn away, until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done to him. Then will I send and fetch thee from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? And Rebekah said unto Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these which are of the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me. Okay, so basically Rebecca was like, yo, Esau super mad, like mad. So you gotta go chill out of town with my brother for a minute, give him some time to chill out before he kill you. So we're on to chapter 28. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said unto him, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padram, to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father, and take thee a wife from thence, the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother. And God Almighty bless thee, and make thee fruitful, and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a multitude of people. And give thee the blessing of Abraham to thee, that thy seed with thee, that thou mayest inherit the land wherein thou art a stranger, which God have gave unto Abraham. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padran unto Laban, son of Bethuel, Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's and Esau's mother. When Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padram to take him a wife from thence, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother, and was gone to Padram. And Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, then went Esau into Ishmael, and took unto the wives which he had Malhata, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Najah, to be his wife. And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went towards Haran. And he lighted upon a certain place, and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took of the stones of that place, and put them for his pillows, and lay down on that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it, and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in the land, and in thee, and in thy seed, shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And behold, I am with thee, and I will keep thee in all places where thou goest, and I will bring thee again unto this land, for I will not leave thee until I have done which I have spoken of thee. And Jacob awakened out of his sleep, and he said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid, and said, How dreadful is this place! This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob rose up early in the morning, and took the stone that he had put for his pillows, and set it up for a pillar, and poured oil upon the top of it. And he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city was called Luz at the first. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, If God will be with me, and will keep me in this way that I will go, and will give me bread to eat, and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God, and this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house, and all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the tenth unto thee. Okay, so he had a dream. So now chapter 29. Then Jacob went to his journey, and came into the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep laying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks, and a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And thither were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in place. And Jacob said unto them, My brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Of Haran are we. So he was like, Where you come from? And they was like, Haran. And he said unto them, Know ye Laban the son of Nabar? And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. And he said, Lo, is it yet high day? Neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together? Water ye the sheep, and go feed them. And they said, We cannot until all the flock be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then we watered the sheep. And while yet he spoke with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, and that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. And it came to pass, when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said unto him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him in the space of a month. And Laban said unto Jacob, Because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall be thy wages? What shall thy wages be? And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, and Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And so tender-eyed, and then Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. So, look stuff like that up. That makes it, Rachel was the cute one. Okay. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. And Laban said, It is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days, for the love he had to her. So he was a slave for a whole 7 years for that. Okay. And Jacob said unto Laban, Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid for an handmaid. And it came to pass in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Did I not serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? Beguiled, y'all remember that word? He tricked him. And Laban said, It must not be. And Laban said, It must not be so done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years. And Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also. And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah his handmaid to be her maid. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben, for she said, Surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction, now therefore my husband will love me. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, Because the Lord hath heard that I was hated, he therefore gave me this son also, and called his name Simeon. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, Now this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore his name was called Levi. And she conceived again and bare a son, and she said, Now will I praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah, and left bearing. All right, so that is the end of chapter 29. Do we want to go to chapter 30? Yeah, let's go to chapter 30. Okay. And when Rachel saw that, okay, now what didn't happen in this one is he got whole tricked, okay? He was like, I'm feeling Rachel. I'm going to work a whole 7 years for that. But then the night of, I guess she had on her little face sheet, her little face curtains or whatever. And he got tricked. I don't know, they might have been drinking or whatever, but he woke up the next morning and he can't renege because he done hit that. So that's his wife, period, point blank. And then dude was like, you know what? That was the older one. So that's why I did that, because that's how we do it. But if you want both kids, if you want the younger one, you got to put in another 7 years for that. So he did. So he done got 2 sisters as wives, and he don't even really like Leah. He just got tricked into wifing her. And now that they're married, God was like, even though you don't like her, you shouldn't be hating this girl like this. So since you hate her so much, she gonna be the one to have all these babies, and Rachel's barren. So that's where we at now. And we're gonna read one more chapter. We're gonna read through chapter 30. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister, and said unto Jacob, give me children, or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, am I in God's stead, who hath withheld from thee the fruit of the womb? And she said, behold, my maid Bilhah, go into her, and she shall bear upon my knees, and I may also have children by her. And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife. And Jacob went into her, and Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son. And Rachel said, God hath judged me, and hath also heard my voice, and hath given me a son. Therefore call his name Dan. So yeah, here we go with this. Like, y'all better just passing it off. Like, just passing it off. So she made him hit the maid, because they used to do that back in the day. You can have a baby on somebody's behalf, because it's because I own you. If you have a child, that child is my child. So here we go. And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again, and bare Jacob a second son. And Rachel said, with great wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had left bearing, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her Jacob to wife. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. And Leah said, a troop cometh, and she called his name Gad. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a second son. And Leah said, happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Asher. And Reuben, so they just going back on like a tit for tat, who can have this man the most babies, and he's just around here just humping, letting them be mad. So he got babies by the maid, both maids, because Leah couldn't have children no more, and Rachel had her maid popping out all these babies. And Leah was like, she won't catch me. So then Leah was like, I got a maid too, and even though I'm done having children, my maid ovaries still work. So now Jacob having kids with the maids, both the sisters and both the sisters' maids. So that's where we at now. And Reuben, now that was the oldest, from the ugly one, Leah. Well, I ain't gonna call her ugly. He just wasn't her type of. He wasn't, whatever. We ain't gonna call that girl ugly. I don't know what she looked like. And Reuben went into the days of wheat harvest, and found madranks in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said unto Leah, their sisters, give me, I pray thee, of thy sons mandrakes. And she said unto her, it is a small matter that thou hast taken my husband, and wouldest thou take away my sons mandrakes also? And Rachel said, therefore he shall lie with thee tonight for thy sons mandrakes. And Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him, and said, thou must come in unto me, for surely I have aired thee with my sons mandrakes. And he lay with her that night. And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare Jacob a fifth son. So Leah was like, let's try this thing one more time. And she got pregnant. And Leah said, God hath given me my heir, because I have given my maiden to my husband. And she called his name Ishkar. And Leah conceived again, and bare Jacob the sixth son. And Leah said, God hath endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulun. And afterward she bare a daughter, and called her name Dinah. And God remembered Rachel, and hearkened unto her, and opened up her womb. Okay, so now Leah is just like trying to pop out as many babies as she can for this man, hoping that he's going to love her. And she keeps conceiving. And I guess he still ain't really rocking with it like that. Now she had a daughter. So God remembered Rachel, this is the sister, and God hearkened to her and opened her womb. Because remember, she hadn't had no babies. She had her handmaid have the babies. And she conceived and bare a son, and said, God hath taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, and said, the Lord shall add to me another son. And it came to pass, when Rachel had born Joseph, that Jacob said unto Laban, send me away, that I may go into mine own place and my own country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go. For thou knowest my service which I have done thee. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. And he said, appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said unto him, thou knowest how I have served thee, and how thy cattle was with me, for it was little which thou hadst before I came, and is now increased unto a multitude. And the Lord hath blessed thee since my coming. And now when shall I provide for mine own house also? And he said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep thy flock. I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and the speckled among the goats, and of such shall be mine heir. And so shall righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come for my heir before thy face. Every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and brown among the sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me. And Laban said, behold, I would it might be according to thy word. And he removed that day the he goats that were ring-stracked and spotted, and all the goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and gave them unto the hands of his son. And he set 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flock. And Jacob took him rods of green polar and hazel chestnut trees, and peeled white strikes in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had peeled before the flocks in the gutters to the watering throughs when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle ringstead, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs, and set the face of the flocks towards the ringstead, and all the brown in the flock of Lebanon. And he put his own flocks by themselves, and put them into Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whensoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, and they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in, so the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, and hath much cattle, and maid servants, and manservants, and camels, and asses. Okay, so that is the conclusion of chapter 30. So where we reach now, Jacob was like, hey, I got all of these children, and now him and Rachel, the one that he loved in the first place, that he's always loved them, finally gave him some kids, Joseph, and he ain't had Benjamin yet. Joseph. Let me pull to another son. Okay, so yeah. So he done had Joseph, and he was like, I want to get up out of here, because I know I've been sitting here serving you. I served you for 14 years for 2 of your daughters, and then we just end up staying here because it was easy, but I want my own place now. So he is, the guy is like, okay, listen, I know that I've been doing great because you've been here. He said that he knows that he's been increased because the Lord is with Jacob. And so he was like, how, I'll pay you and you can stay here. And he was like, no, I don't want to do that. He was like, well, what is it that we should do? And so he was like, all of these cattle and all of these flocks that I've been helping you raise and maintain, and that you've grown over the years, just give me some. So they separating the cattle by, I guess, the spotted and unspotted, or white, brown, speckled, freckled, whatever. And Jacob, having intimate knowledge on in how to raise these flocks, he's breeding them. He's breeding the stronger, he's breeding the speckled ones to be stronger. And yeah, so they waxing great, and the man increased exceedingly and had much cattle, manservants, camels, and asses. So we will pick back up on chapter 31 in our next session. I thank you guys again for spending this time with me. We are more than halfway through Genesis. Genesis is only 50 chapters, so we're a little bit more than halfway. And I love this time we have together. So I will see you guys next time for another session of Kickback Bible Study.